I'm just going to say it. I'm teaching a comprehensive course on Microsoft Excel. But let me tell you, Excel is a magician's hat that pulls out solutions to problems you never thought possible. As a former beta tester wizard for Microsoft, I've created more spreadsheets than stars in the sky. Come with me on a journey that will blow your mind. We're going back to a time when accounting was done with, well, sand. This is 5,000 years ago when the ancient Mesopotamians ruled the world, and clay tablets were the ultimate tech. They invented writing and spreadsheets before spreadsheets even existed, with wedge-shaped writing called cuneiform pressed into clay tablets. They tracked their trades, taxes, and loans like it was nobody's business. I think I'll add new shoes to the miscellaneous expenses column. And then came the paper ledger, the smartphone of the Middle Ages. The first tech revolution that changed the game for accountants and merchants everywhere. It allowed them to record several hundred financial transactions per day, a step up from clay tablets. And just when it seemed like spreadsheets had hit their limits, a new technology emerged. Computers with raw power at your fingertips. Programs like VisiCalc and Lotus 123 allowed for thousands of calculations per day. But with great power comes great responsibility. The undo function was yet to be invented. And today, Excel can do billions of calculations per day. So next time you open up the app, remember the journey it took to get here. And who knows where we'll go from here. Join me and unlock your full potential to wield thousands of years of history like a true wizard. Welcome to our 255th weekly webcast. My goodness, we're in our 6th year of doing this. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way this call works is this is an AMA, like you see on Reddit, Ask Me Anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions, personal development questions, AI questions, finance, investing questions, basically any questions that I can humbly answer to try to help you take your career, etc., to the next level. So without further ado, let's begin, and thank you as always. So late last night, Motivation Station left a question here, which is, can you share in detail, how do you write a book along with the format you shared earlier? And how do you avoid writer's block? Absolutely. So I've written a number of books. I'm not going to market them, but it's a really simple process, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And if you do what I'm about to tell you to do, and you go to informational meetings or interviews with admissions committees at universities, and you give them your book, I promise you, it increases the probability of you getting into that school or you getting that job, even if it's just a networking meeting. It's really easy to do. And if you think it's too much work, then, and I say this with love in my heart, I need to ask you, how badly do you want that job or to get into that school? So the way you do it is I have a template for you, and I don't ask for your email or anything. And the way to access that template is you go over here to harounmba.com/writebook. That's all one word, all lowercase, write book. And you download a template. And this template is in Microsoft Word format, and it looks like this here. And there's one page of instructions right at the beginning. And this one page will tell you how to publish this book for free on Amazon Kindle, Amazon paper-based, meaning CreateSpace, and audible.com through acx.com. And the only fee you have to pay is if you want to get somebody to create the cover of your book, please use this person here, UltraCon22. She's based in Bangladesh. She's great. She's designed all my books. I pay her $5 to start and usually a $20 tip when she creates the covers. And what you do is you just type your book here. It's pretty simple. You make your dedication and you just fill in all the blanks, okay? And then you right click here and you update the field. It's really, really easy to do. And if it feels overwhelming for you to be able to do that, what you can do is what I did. And what I did was, for my first book here, I wrote 101 articles on LinkedIn over a period of 2 years. Then I took those articles, and what I did was the ones that got the most likes or comment, etc., or views, I put those first in my book. And then I submitted it, and it's done wonders for my career. It's done wonders for a lot of my students' careers as well. We've got Manas from India on the call here. He wrote a book called Bonds Before Business, which has helped his career out tremendously as well. So please do it. In terms of writer's block, like anything in life, if it feels like work, you're not going to be good at it. So only start writing when you're in a perfect state of mind. And when you're in a perfect state of mind, you can get a heck of a lot done. You also have to set a deadline date. And Elon Musk once said, if you set a deadline date of 3 years from now, you'll get it done in 3 years. If you set a deadline date of 3 days or 3 weeks, you'll get it done in 3 days or 3 weeks. And you got to vocalize that goal too. Tell your friends, family members, etc. you're writing a goal and provide a deadline date. Last thing I'll say in that is, according to Tony Robbins, who I've met a couple times, great guy. He actually invested in one of my companies in VC years ago too. But according to Tony Robbins, 90% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January. The reason they give up is because they don't set a deadline date. So set that deadline date, especially as New Year's resolutions are coming up in only a couple of weeks. Thank you for that. All right, next question. Rahul wrote, are bucks and dollars the same thing? They are. The reason it's called a buck in the United States is in the colonial days before the US dollar was created, the fur trade was a big deal. And buck is basically, it's a deer. And so people would use deer hides as a form of currency. Yeah. All right. Next up, I've got here Alex. Alex, how are you? Great to see you. You wrote, Chris, in the Microsoft Excel course, yeah. I think it would be helpful to add a section on building advanced sensitivity tables and analysis for valuation purposes with case studies. Any thoughts? Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah. So what you can do is I actually just published a course you can get on my website, which will teach you how to use ChatGPT as well as Google Bard and Microsoft Bing Chat to be able to create financial models, right? There's a lot of caveats though, because the data can be wrong sometimes from AI. And then after you create the financial model, and I teach you all this stuff from scratch in that course, after you create the financial model, when it comes to a sensitivity analysis, we actually do it down here. This is the weighted average cost of capital, and this is the growth rate. So for different costs of capital and different growth, we have different target prices here. Please don't be intimidated by the stuff I explain in a lot of detail in my course. And you can get access to that in my MBA degree program for free. I just published that one. Thank you. And if you want, what I can do, if anybody is curious, I can show you how to do a regression analysis right now using Microsoft Excel. It's really easy to do and a lot of fun. Okay, next up, Risa. Hey, Risa, how are you? You wrote, I completed the 2023 Platinum course earlier this year. I sent a support ticket on November 30th. I've not received a response. Is there another email for support? I actually got your email. Thank you. It takes us a couple of days to be able to go through all 100 classes to see if students have passed more than 50% of all the classes. And the way the MBA degree program works is there's 100 classes with 100 short quizzes. In order to pass, all you need to do is get over 50% on half of those quizzes. And I set it up that way because it's not fair for me to have every student take every single class. You might not be passionate about learning about AI or finance. You might be more interested in entrepreneurship, for example. Thank you. I will respond to that today. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. Now, in terms of customer support, I've been playing around with a new feature, meaning using customer support using ChatGPT, and I'd love to get your feedback on it, please. And it's really easy. to create a chatbot for your website using AI. You don't have to be a techie at all. Let me show you. So you go to a company called chatbase.co, and you can actually set up a chatbot for free. And so what I did was I set up a chatbot on my website, and for the input, the sources, you can put anything you want. So what I did was I added a couple of sources. Number one, all the closed captions from every lecture in my MBA degree program. That's like 11 million characters almost. So you can ask me any question about the MBA program contents and it'll answer it for you. I also put in a text file here as well, and then a bunch of website links. Then all you have to do is this. You just go to embed on site, you copy and paste this, put it onto your website. Really, really easy. And so it looks like this down here in the corner. I'm covering it up right now, so give me a second to get my face off in the corner. That's a Canadian hockey term too. And you click right here and you can ask questions. So I'd love to get your feedback. Please try it out and let me know your thoughts. And if you have questions on how to implement this, meaning a chatbot on your website, please let me know. A company is only as good as its customer service. And Riza, I'm so sorry for not responding sooner to your request. Next up, we have Manas, the author of Bonds Before Business. He's also the author of some of the best rated AI courses on Udemy. He's a good guy. He's a friend as well. So Manas wrote, "Good morning, my dear mentor. Hope all is well. Back with a bunch of questions. Are you ready to push the goalposts? Oot." Thank you for saying oot. That's how Canadians say it. Yes, I am. Yeah. Okay. Salut, good to see you. Good morning. First time I see you on the call. I hope you join us again. Pulasi wrote, "How are you, Chris? Hope you're fine. I'm always great. Thank you. And I hope you guys are doing well as well." I'm really excited because GTA 6 was just announced. I watched the trailer 8 million times. I'm a little bit upset it's coming out in 2025 and not next year. But I have to warn you all. In 2025, there's going to be a period of at least 4 weeks in a row where there's not going to be a weekly webcast because I'm going to take time off from work to play GTA 6. Yeah. All right. Hamza, great to see you as well. Silu wrote, "I'm still wondering what could be the benefits of being an MBA graduate when you can get tons of resources online and through AI-based platforms." Yeah. So one of the great things about doing an MBA online or in a traditional school is the network. You meet with tons of other students from all over the world, and quite often at great MBA schools, you learn more from your fellow students than you do from the professors or the content as well. Also, if you're in an MBA degree program, it puts pressure on you, I say this with love in my heart, to attend classes and to get it done fast. Yeah. But I'm certainly adding just a ton of stuff, AI stuff, to my MBA degree program. I just finished recording a course on customer service, and maybe later on today I can play you a little segment from that. We just published that course as well, customer service using AI, including chat-based, which I just showed you. All right, Frederick Mendoza from the DC area, who's met with Dr. Fauci before. Great to see you. You wrote, "When will the Python course be out?" Yeah, so that's coming in January. So I just recorded 10 courses. I've never recorded this many courses in a short amount of time. I've released 5 of them. You can go to learn.harounventures.com to access many of those. The Python course will be out in January. It is humbly a masterpiece. I partnered with Luca Anderson, who's a PhD in AI as well, and we created the course. You're going to love it. I used a ton of props as well, tons of Lego props, including the Lego Titanic, which is down there on the ground. I'm teaching it using Legos. I hope you enjoy it. I had a blast making it. Okay. All right. Next up, Hilda. Hilda, new viewer as well. Great to see her. I hope you join us again. Hilda wrote, "Good morning, everyone. I trust we're all having a fantastic day." Amen. For sure. Every day is great. Yeah. Next up, Sam wrote, "I started the ChatGPT course and I'm enjoying it. Thank you. One of my teachers wanted his classes to get a subscription to ChatGPT, but I demonstrated how Bing Chat can do everything he wanted for free." Absolutely. Yeah. The great thing about Bing Chat is it uses ChatGPT 4.0, so you don't have to use ChatGPT and pay for it, the plus version. You can use Bing Chat. But one feature I love about ChatGPT that Bing does not have is the ability to create custom instructions. And I can go through that if you want me to in a lot of detail. All right, Ted, good morning. Great to see you. Abdulaziz, great to see you as well. Aziz wrote here, hey, Chris, I hope you're doing well, likewise. And I have a good buddy that lives in Dubai named Abdul Aziz. We call him Aziz. You wrote, what advice can you give me on personal finance? Is there a specific app you think can help budget to pay debt and save? Yeah, there's plenty of programs you can use online. You can use Mint. You can use any product from Intuit, like QuickBooks to run your company, or Quicken, for example. And the great thing about all these applications is they have basic AI embedded to the extent that they'll tell you which debts to pay off first. Like if you have an Amex, it'll tell you to pay that off before your MasterCard because the fees are higher, etc. Yeah. But aside from that, I do have in my MBA degree program, I teach a lot about personal finance as well. Yeah. All right. All right. Fred wrote, nice commercial, really pushing up the production value. Thank you. I had a blast making that. We actually recorded that down in Southern California. In Burbank, where and actually the studios that I rented to create that Excel trailer, they've made movies like American Sniper, etc. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. Yeah. Okay. Next up, JMO wrote, "Hey Chris, I bought my course a week ago, but I'm not able to get the Excel workbook and download it." Yeah. Everything is always attached to the first lecture in all my courses, all downloads. Yeah. And if you can't access it, please let me know which course, and I'll log in right now and show you. Thank you. Yeah. Lay, good morning. Good to see you as well. First time viewer. Hope you join us again. All right. Next up, Maria. Good morning to you too. And then Jonas wrote, what a fun intro. Thank you for your time and effort. Thank you for being here, all of you. Yeah. Thank you. And one thing I'm very proud of is I've never taken a sponsor, and I never will. Never on my YouTube channel or for anything I do, because my customer is you, the student, and not big business, for example. Yeah. Okay, Caroline, who's from France but lives in Canada. How are you? You wrote, good morning, Chris. One of my REITs is up 96%. Wow, nicely done. I remember we talked about that last week. Now, a REIT, for those who are not familiar with it, is a way to invest in real estate by buying a stock. A REIT has a ticker as well. It stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. And a REIT also by law has to pay out 90% of its profits in the form of a dividend. Don't just invest in a REIT if it has a high dividend yield like 20 or 30%, because any company that has a dividend yield above, say, 20 or 30%, there could be a chance it can go bankrupt because a lot of investors believe that that dividend is not sustainable. Now, quick side note, in terms of real estate, I'm going to have Tom Karadza, who is one of the most intelligent real estate investors on the planet. He's been coming onto this webcast to do a real estate teach-in for all of you. That will come probably in early 2024. He's a great guy and a good friend as well. All right. Then you wrote, should I take profits? If so, how much? Yeah, it's hard for me to give advice based on that. If it's in your RRSP, which is the Canadian version of a 401k retirement savings program, you won't be paying taxes. So potentially take some money off the table. Yeah. And I never recommend having more than 5% of your liquid net worth in any one stock or any one investment. I recommend having at least 20 stocks in your portfolio so you can diversify your risk exposure. And so if that position, that REIT, is now 10% of your portfolio, I'd probably cut it in half. Yeah. And that's just good risk management. Okay, next up, Nathan wrote, does your Python course show you how to trade algorithmically? It does not, but we provide you with, with all of the basics, pardon me, so you can understand how to create any Python applications. And we actually teach you every single built-in function as well. It's by far the longest and most comprehensive course I've ever made. Again, I made it with Luca Ennison, who is an expert in AI, and there's going to be a book version of the course for free as well. Yeah. That'll come out early next year. I'm always sad when I finish a course too, man. Always sad. It's like when you finish a book. You know, it feels great. You put it on your bookshelf, but at the same time you miss it. Next up, Manos wrote, are we done with the recession story? By the way, it's history. Even in 2008, that recession comes up after everyone is carefree and done with what you do. Yeah. So 2008 was a different animal completely. There was a black swan event where we had a lot of credit default swaps. Basically, we were within 24 hours of all bank machines not working. So I wouldn't compare and contrast this period to back then. Things are never as bad as we think as an investor. Always remember that. I don't think we're going to be going into recession. In fact, the Federal Reserve is almost definitely going to be cutting rates next year. I think we're done with raising rates. And the reason I say that is because the economy is definitely slowing. There's concerns overseas as well, with China slowing a lot, and given globalization impacts all of us. And whenever the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it can take 12 to 18 months to really feel the shock or impact in the economy. So I'm pretty sure that next year the Fed will start cutting rates. Yeah. All right. Father Andre, great to see you. Andre is one of my platinum students. He's a pastor based in Brazil, but he and his family just moved back to New York. Great to see you, man. Yeah. And thank you for that advice you gave me, spiritual advice recently. Jason, good to see you. Andre, another Andre, great to see you from Florida. Now we have Maria, who wrote, in my view, pursuing an MBA offers structured learning and well-rounded education, plus guidance from experienced professionals along with a network of peers. Yeah, and I agree completely. Now, one of the problems with traditional MBA schools is they don't teach you the most important skill set to be successful in business, like how to network, how to get a job, how to find customers, how to present, how to manage your own money. They teach you how to manage other people's money, but not your own. And that's why I created my program. It's just much more practical, in my humble opinion. Manas wrote, I'm happy to inform you that one of my newest courses on Adobe Firefly AI, Adobe, is now the highest rated on Udemy. I should mention the fact that huge credit goes to you for the untold support. Thank you. And help. And then you wrote, thank you for everything. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. God bless you and congratulations. Yeah, AI, Adobe's got really good functionality when it comes to using Photoshop with AI. I've played around with it a lot. It's incredible. Yeah. Renveer from Mauritius, great to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm looking forward to chatting with you on our weekly Silver Zoom call every week at 10 a.m. on Thursdays Pacific time. Hamza wrote, hi, Chris, hope all is well. Likewise, I'm enjoying your MBA course. Thank you. And absolutely love all the quotes. I heard a lyric today that said, every day I'm on vacation because I love my occupation. How can one find their passion? Yeah, there's a couple of ways, and thank you for those kind words. God bless you. So the way to find your passion, purpose, raison d'etre in life is to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first question is this. If you're given a month off, and in those 30 days, you can't travel, you can't go to work, and you can't go to school, what are you going to do with your time? Whatever the answer is, and I don't care what anybody tells you, that's your purpose, your passion, your raison d'etre, and you should go for it. If it's video games, then network and get a job in the video game sector. If it's healthcare and helping people, become a doctor, etc. Another way to find out what your passion is to listen to autobiographies or biographies on Audible, and listen to your rock star, entrepreneurs that inspire you, and see if you're passionate about what they do. And the best entrepreneurs, what they do is once they become very successful, they share their secrets with the world. So the book I'm listening to right now, it won't surprise you, is this. Alexa, read my book.
Getting your selection from Audible. Resuming Elon Musk.
When I was still with my ex-wife,
Alexa, stop. Yeah, so listen to biographies. Yeah. Another way you can figure out what your passion, purpose, raison d'etre, etc. is in life is you can set up a ton of informational meetings. And it's easy to do. And I did that as well back in my 20s. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I set up informational meetings with lawyers, for example. I thought I wanted to go to law school. And I was bored to tears after that meeting. So I decided not to go to law school. Now, the way to get these informational meetings is I have a book that will show you how to get a meeting with anybody. And all you got to do is go to my website, which is harounmba.com. Scroll down here to the bottom, and you can get this book here. And I wrote this using that template I showed you guys earlier. It's called Networking to Get Customers, a Job, or Anything You Want. Yeah. And while you do these networking meetings, what I want you to do is I want you to ask these people you're meeting with what a day in the life is like in their career. Yeah. And it's easy to get these meetings. Follow the script in that book that I just mentioned in order to get those meetings, or join my MBA degree program because I teach you how to network on steroids. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, Sanjay, wrote, hey, Chris, hope you and the family are doing well. Likewise, great to see you. And my kids are growing up, man. It's so sad. They grow fast. By the time your child is 12 years old, you've already spent 90% of the time you'll ever spend with them. It's a fact. Yeah. And so this guy's at university. This guy will be in university next year. And this guy is 14, going on 40. You know, the youngest one. Yeah. I went to his basketball game last night, too. It was fun. All right. Renveer wrote, I created a chat GPT bot for my e-commerce site recently, but I can't rely on it because of its hallucinations. Yeah. How did you deal with hallucinations when making bots? I'll show you exactly. So there's something called temperature. And what you can do is a temperature of 0 when it comes to ChatGPT means it's going to give you perfected answers. And then a temperature of 1 means it's going to be more creative. And I'll show you exactly how to set this up. So what you can do is whenever you set up a chatbot, you can go to settings. And then I think it's down here in settings as well, chat interface. It's fun doing these things live. And you could select, let's see here. There's a way to set it up in here. I promise you it's in here as well. Oh, it's killing me. Chat interface. Anyway, it's in here somewhere. Yeah. Try my best to be perfect on these calls. I can't do it. As Salvador Dali said, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it. Yeah. But make the temperature 0, not 1. Yeah. Okay. And then Renveer from Mauritius wrote, during those 4 weeks, we can play GTA 6 online together, Chris. Amen. I can't wait, man. I'm so excited. I'm actually playing GTA 4 right now. I never finished it, and I love that game. Yeah. And 5 is a masterpiece, man. Can't believe it came out 10 years ago. Manas wrote, if you get an opportunity to become the president of Canada or prime minister, it's prime minister, yeah. What would you change and what will remain the same in Canada? Maybe you'll make dad jokes legal. Yeah. Yeah, my dad jokes are cringeworthy, please. So what I love Canada. I'm very proud, but I think one of the biggest flaws of the system there is it's a parliamentary-based system, inherited from the United Kingdom as part of the Commonwealth. And one of the issues with that is there's no term limits. So you could be prime minister forever. When I was a kid, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, Justin Trudeau's father, was prime minister for way too long. Sorry, I don't want to let you guys know my political preference. But I would create term limits. Yeah, that's what I would do. Otherwise, what happens is you're much more focused on staying in power and not leaving a great legacy. Don't ever talk about politics in an informational meeting. All right, next up, Code and Compass wrote, hi, Chris, thanks for the course. Really enjoying it. Thank you for that. I waited a whole week to ask you this question. Sure. What do you think about a VR streaming platform such as ESPN? How would you go about it? Yeah. So VR is really tough. I've beta tested all the products. I have Oculus. I've tried them all. One of the issues is motion sickness. In fact, the U.S. military signed, I think it was like a $20 billion deal with Facebook or Meta to use Oculus for military simulation and training. And 80% of the armed forces personnel that did that used the Oculus product, reported motion sickness. I think that's one of the biggest issues right now. I think if any company is going to be able to crack it and figure out how this all works will be Apple. According to patents and a recent Apple presentation, the new VR product from Apple is coming out early next year. It's way too expensive, but I think if anybody's going to dominate and figure that market out, it's definitely going to be them. I'm very bullish longer term on esports, though, because unlike traditional sports, you don't have to use a stadium, have concession stands, and spend a fortune in order to put an event on. You can just stream from anybody's home using Twitch, which Amazon bought for next to nothing. And I think it's only a matter of time until video game streamers make way more money than Messi, that's right, or any other top athlete. It's coming. It'll happen. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Sanjay wrote, regarding Peter Thiel. Yeah, and so Peter Thiel, for those who are not familiar, is the owner of Founders Fund. It's a great venture capital firm. He was also the first investor in Facebook, and he was also the co-founder of PayPal. You wrote, I heard his investment in a tax-free return for $1,000, and now it's worth $14 billion. The government is not allowing him to take it out. Like, why? Yeah. So basically what Peter Thiel did years ago, in the United States, there's something called a Roth IRA. Now, a 401k means you invest money in your retirement savings program, and then that money grows tax-free, and when you take it out, you pay tax. A Roth IRA is different. You can put in about $6,000 per year. Not everybody can. You pay taxes first, then the money grows, and you take it out tax-free. So what Peter Thiel did was he invested a lot of money from his Facebook investment when it was private, as well as Palantir at pennies on the dollar, put it into his IRA, and I heard it's worth somewhere between $7 and $10 billion. Yeah, and it's kind of a fine line, or it's gray area whether or not you can do that, because you can't do that if you have material control of a company. But he'll argue that he wasn't the CEO of Facebook or Palantir, he's just an investor. Yeah, really smart guy. Yeah, and I partnered with him before on deals. Actually, last venture capital firm I was in, we invested in Palantir when it was private. I'm not a shareholder anymore. Okay, Enter Ben wrote, "Hey Chris, how are you? I'm always great. Good to see you." Okay, and then you wrote, "I love the Morgan Haroun Sachs in the FA class." Thank you, thank you. And later on during today's webcast, Gordon Lizard actually is going to come here, as well as Bob Burgundy, and there's going to be a quick interview. You'll see that, and I hope you enjoy it. Manas wrote, "Google is launching Gemini AI. Are they losing the AI game, or they're aggressive about the AI race? What do you have to say about that?" Yeah, so Google is really a pioneer when it comes to AI. In fact, the T in ChatGPT was created by Google years ago. And it's a classic innovator's dilemma in terms of why Google didn't release their own AI product years ago. Because if they did so, investors would be upset because it would have hurt operating profits by about $30 billion per year. How did I come up with that number? Well, it costs you about $100 billion to deploy state-of-the-art AI product. And it's expensive to run these things. Like OpenAI would not really be relevant if it weren't for Microsoft's 49% stake in the company. They've been invested in them since 2016. So it's a CapEx nightmare. And so Google had that dilemma. They're like, well, we can release this product years ago, but it's really going to hurt operating profit. And we know that competition is a good thing for the consumer. And finally, there's competition for Google to the extent that the Bing Chat app actually has more downloads than the Google app download on the iOS store. Now, Google recently announced Gemini, and I was listening to it this morning. First time I heard of it actually this morning on the Wall Street Journal Tech News briefing. And it's something they're going to embed in all of their products as well. And one of the great things about Gemini is that it will help with video-based AI searches and image-based as well. Now, what I recommend for everybody before you leave your house or when you're in the car, whatever, you can listen to the news using ALEXA. And that's exactly what I do. It's 5 minutes when I shower in the morning, and I get all my news. It's awesome. Here's how I do it. Alexa, what's the Wall Street Journal news? Alexa. All right. She turned on, but it's not working. Great doing these things live. So I'll unplug Alexa, and I'll come back to her later. But all you have to do is ask, Alexa, what's the Wall Street Journal news? And you get 5-minute summary. It's great. All right. MTI wrote, "Good morning, Chris." Good morning. You wrote, "I'm also in the MBA Silver program." Thank you. And I hope you can join us today at 10 a.m. for our weekly Zoom call for Silver students only. You wrote, I'm looking to start the Gen AI coaching. Which business plan template would you advise to use?" Yeah. So I just released another AI course, and you can find 6 electives for my MBA students by going to the very last lecture of your MBA program. All 14 of my MBA programs, meaning gold, platinum over the past couple of years, whatever, and silver. You can go to the last lecture to access all the electives for free. Yeah. So I would take the latest one I just published, the finance one on AI, and that will help you a lot. In terms of the business plan, I would go to the 3rd semester. So go to this lecture exactly. E3-1 through E3-5. That's Entrepreneurship Semester 3, Class 1, through Entrepreneurship Semester 3, Class 4 or 5, I think. And that's the Venture Capital Bootcamp. And there's one master template you can use there for any company if you're asking about which template to use for the slides, meaning which one of the 25 templates, if you want, come on to the Zoom call today at 10 and I'll help you write your business plan. Yeah. All right. Nicholas wrote, Bing Chat GPT-4 doesn't work as good as a paid version I've found. Yeah. I like the interface much better when it comes to ChatGPT. But one thing I will say is Microsoft has done a great job with Copilot. So Copilot is right here. And this, you have to use the Edge browser, which works on Windows as well as on a Mac. I'm using a Mac right now. And what you can do is you can go to any page and ask Copilot, and I know I'm covering it up my face right here, to copy that data directly. So I'm here at sec.gov right here, and this is where by law you have to actually file all of your stock market filings here. So I'll show you how this works. So what you can do is you can type in a ticker here, search, come on, search, and then you can ask, it's usually it works faster, so I'll type Microsoft here. Then what you can do is you can open up Copilot on the side and get get Copilot to copy this directly. Here we go. It's fun doing these things live, eh? Great. Okay, good. So what we can do is we can go to an earnings report right here, for example, and we can actually go and highlight an income statement if we wanted to, or any data, right? So this here is the income statement. So what I can do is highlight this, go to Copilot here, and I'm covering this up with my face, and I can get all this information here. It takes a while to populate, and then I can copy this if I want to, or send it to myself. Yeah, that's a quick little demo of Bing Chat. Competition's a good thing for the consumer. Okay, Jahanzeb wrote, hi, Chris. Is the financial valuation covered in the Finance Investing with ChatGPT course in Udemy? Yeah, it is. It is, yeah. Yeah, and I released that one. I sent out the first promotional message on that yesterday. Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. Next up, Ryan wrote, just want to say thanks for the immense content provided. Always great to listen to the latest technologies from you. Thank you. And thank you for being here with us today. All right. Alexa started again, so I'll try it again. Alexa, what's the Wall Street Journal news?
From the Wall Street Journal.
The wheel, a big idea
Alexa,
that's inspired.
Stop. So that's what I do every morning. I get my 5-minute Wall Street Journal news briefing. It's free to use. The Alexa app, of course, it's incredible. Yeah. All right. And that's how I found out about Gemini this morning. First time I heard of it. All right. Oh, my goodness. Rohit, it's been years, dude. Great to see you. Rohit graduated from my MBA program years ago, and I think you went to school at the Halt International School of Business in the Bay Area, where I used to teach during the evenings. Great to see you. Risa wrote, thank you. Appreciate your response. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'm sorry it's taken us longer than usual to get back to you. It takes us a little while to go through all the exams to see if people have gotten over 50% all of them. Yeah. And then Rohit wrote, I graduated from Halt now. I'm job hunting now. Please network like crazy. Do an advanced search in LinkedIn for people that have also graduated from Halt. And then search for the companies you want to work at and set up informational meetings. Do that 20 times for each company you want to work at. And I promise you, you will get that job. Yeah, it's like dating. It takes time. All right. Next up, we got Ryan, who wrote, hey, Chris, what are your thoughts on the Chinese economy? I've heard news of the real estate crisis, but everything seems okay so far. Yeah, I think they're in a recession right now. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah. So, and that's another reason why I think the Federal Reserve of the United States is going to be cutting rates next year because of globalization. Yeah, and globalization is a beautiful thing, in my humble opinion. Because if we're all attached at the hip, it means we have to get along. Okay, Manos wrote, why was Sam removed and again rehired by OpenAI? They actually discovered a new model called Q-Star, and then Sam was fired. And they found out AGI, meaning artificial general intelligence, is complete or just FUD, meaning fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yeah, nobody really knows exactly what happened, but what I will say is that whenever you guys are raising money from investors, if you raise a lot of money from them, they join your board. And a bad board member is really a thorn in your side. And it's worse than a bad marriage, because with a bad marriage, you get divorced. But a bad board member stays on your board forever, and they're a pain in the neck. And so he had probably not the best board members, and they decided to vote him out. We don't know why. My gut is maybe, this is just speculation, maybe it had to do with the fact that he wanted to, monetize their assets faster, and other board members wanted to focus a little bit more so on security and maybe privacy in the long run. Yeah, and you always have an odd number of board members on your board so that there's no gridlock in terms of votes. So if there's 4 people, an even number on your board, 2 could vote yes, 2 could vote no, then there's gridlock. You always have an odd number. Subsequently, as you've all seen in the press, the board was removed and a new board was implemented. The lesson for all of us is when you raise money again, please be careful with board members. And you got to go with your gut as well. And it's kind of hard for me to explain, but, remember when we were younger, or at least when I was younger, you go into business with somebody and your gut tells, or a relationship, and your gut tells you not to trust them. You don't know why, but your gut tells you not to trust them. And then you say to yourself years later, gosh, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Always go with your gut. Yeah. And make sure that, and a good board member, what they can do is they're kind of like a prosthetic extension of the management team. They have to bring some skill set to help you. So my specialty when I worked in venture capital and I was on lots of boards was I helped out with networking and finding customers. Yeah. All right. Next up, Pratik wrote, hey, Chris, I want to learn about finance as I can't understand most of the things you talk about, like bonds, etc. I tried to watch your course on finance in the silver program, but I found it quite advanced. Yeah, I start off with the basics with it. Why don't you do this? Join me this week and every week at 10 a.m. My time, Pacific time. Look at the first lecture of the silver curriculum, and you could get the link to join my weekly Zoom call. And I will explain finance and accounting from scratch. I'll use tons of props as well when explaining the balance sheets, etc. Yeah. Okay, and then you wrote, I'm absolutely zero level in finance as I'm a science and computer student. Well, in Silicon Valley, we used to say it's easier for an engineer to learn finance than it is for a finance person to learn engineering. You'll have no problems. Again, join me at 10 a.m. today and I'll help you. Yeah. And if you recently purchased the program and it's not helping you, then ask your money back. Thanks. And I always say that if you don't get at least a 10x return on your investment in my MBA degree program within the first 30 days, please ask for 100% of your money back. Yeah. All right. And then JMO wrote, is it the complete financial analyst and investing course? No. So what I'm referring to is if you're in my MBA degree program, if you go to the very last lecture, I just published a new course there you get a link to teach you how to use ChatGPT to invest. And in that course, and Pratik, you might want to watch that as well, I explain finance and investing from scratch as well in a lot of optional lectures. And what I actually do is I use a ton of props as well to explain how an income statement, balance sheet works, etc. Yeah. These are Legos for adults. Okay, JMO wrote, we had a meeting scheduled, but it coincided with Thanksgiving. I would still love to meet you if you have time. Yeah, if you're in my gold or platinum MBA degree program, please set up a meeting with me. And for those of you that are thinking about joining the program, but you're not sure, and you have questions about it, you can always set up a meeting with me by going to harounmba.com/ all lowercase FAQ. And then what you can do is you can click right here. Again, if you're interested in joining the Silver, Gold, or Platinum program, click this link right here. And then what you can do is just set up a meeting with me. And I have to fix this because on Christmas, I'm not taking meetings. Yeah. All right. Okay, Pratik wrote, I'm also not going to do anything for 1 week when GTA 6 is launched. You're my brother. I love you. You wrote, it will be the only GTA 6 for 12 hours a day. LOL. I've been waiting for it since eternity. It's unbelievable that it's been 10 years. Yeah. Incredible. I can't wait, man. Yeah. I might play Vice City all over again. That was my favorite one, released in 2002. That's why I got my PlayStation 2 back then. It's based on Vice City in Miami. I can't wait. Okay, Nintendo, how are you? Wrote, hi, Chris. Recently, Polish lawmakers by law were forced to reveal their net worth. One lawmaker was relevant to have 1.25 million US dollars in Bitcoin, 10% of his net worth. What do you think about the feature for cryptocurrencies will be considered the potential government interference and rollout by central banks like the ECB and their own cryptocurrency? Yeah. I mean, finally, fiat currencies, meaning paper-based currencies, have competition. And if you look at the US dollar, it looks and feels exactly like it did in 1933. It looks identical. And cash is trash to the extent that if you own cash, you have no control in the supply of it. You know, the U.S. Government increased the supply of U.S. dollars by 30 or 40% during the pandemic. And that dilutes our net worth. So I think cryptocurrencies are a great competitor longer term when it comes to fiat currencies. But we need regulations. Like, for example, if you want to list on the stock market, you have to file an S1. And I think that the SEC should regulate cryptocurrencies. And I think before anybody offers a cryptocurrency, there should be some sort of investment offering memorandum so that we can understand the risks, etc. And a little side note, before you invest in anything, read the investment offering memorandum. And if you can't get access to one, don't invest. Same thing goes for private companies. Yeah. Okay, Eric from Florida, from Sarasota. How are you? Eric wrote, learning things that I wasn't interested in, and now I am, is the greatest part of taking your course. Thank you. What an all-inclusive program. Thank you. I love drinking from your fountain of knowledge and wisdom. God bless you, brother. It means a lot coming from you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And then Andre, who's a pastor who used to live in Brazil, now just relocated with his family in New York, wrote, I just finished an interview with a manager position. I read on the interviewer's LinkedIn that she studied business and suggested her look at your MBA course. That was my way of offering help. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. And dude, join me for the weekly 2-hour Platinum and Gold office hours today at 11:20. I'd love to catch up with you, man. Yeah. And Andre, who's a pastor, he gave me some spiritual advice. It was interesting. He said, we are going to be judged, not just for the things we did right, but also the things we did wrong. You know, two rights don't overrule a wrong, so to speak. So we have to think about that closely. And there's 10 rules I live by, which is the basis for many great religions and 10 commandments. Yeah. Okay. I'll no more religious talk, Chris. But God bless you all, and I love you. Okay. Next up, Sanjay wrote, hey, Chris, what's the future of Hollywood? I read that most of the movies are losing movies, and actors are asking for way more salary than they can bring in, and the freedom of directors is absent. Yeah, a couple things. Number one, I think it's only a matter of time before Hollywood studios create AI-based actors, and they own the copyright, patents, etc. for that actor, and they don't have to pay them squat. I think that's coming very, very soon. Very soon, yeah. Also, there's a lot more competition now from online streaming, and it's hit my business as well. You know, there's so much competition out there. So I think traditional actors is going to be a thing of the past, and AI-based actors are going to be the thing of the future. It's better from a margin perspective too. Yeah, and it's coming with quantum computing as well. And I recommend you guys all do a search on YouTube for 60 Minutes and quantum computing. 60 Minutes did a great segment on that last week. And quantum computing is a way of using electrons instead of transistors, and you have to keep the quantum computer chipset really cold for it to work. And the kicker is that quantum computers will, in the long run, actually probably within a decade, be literally 1 million times faster than the fastest supercomputer today. And that's one of the reasons why IBM's stock price has been going up quite a bit recently. Yeah. All right. Sanjay wrote, in the sports league, do you think UFC will generate more money than boxing and also more than NBA or hockey in the next 5 years? I can't call it for the next 5 years, but what's brilliant about the UFC, and I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, what's brilliant about the UFC is there really aren't high-level celebrities that you have to pay a lot, right? It's kind of like watching an NCAA basketball game. You know, they don't make a lot of money, but it's more exciting. Yeah. In terms of hockey, I don't think so. I'm a hockey fan. I got to go there. All right. I'm a proud Canadian, and I got to give you a couple of Wayne Gretzky quotes that will change your life. So Wayne Gretzky once said, "Don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck is going to be." And what he means by that is be a contrarian and also be forward thinking. The same thing with stocks. Don't invest in stocks that people like today, because there aren't that many new incremental investors to buy and push it higher. Invest in stocks that people are going to like. And the CFO of Vestas, a great European wind company, gave me that quote years ago, and I love it. Another quote from Wayne Gretzky, he's so humble, is this: when you win, say nothing. No, when you lose, say nothing. When you win, say even less. Yeah. All right. Sanjay wrote, are these Forbes billionaires lists genuine or a bit fake? No, they're genuine. And the way that Forbes calculates the list, it's usually people that own stocks in publicly traded companies. They look at how many shares these people own, which is publicly disclosed, times the share price. Yeah. Unless it's a private company like the Mars Corporation, Tabasco, Lego, etc. Okay, Nathan wrote, I know your stance on day trading, and I'll avoid it as suggested. Thank you. But please explain, doesn't Soros and Steve Cohen actively trade? Yeah. So Steve Cohen used to run SAC, a big hedge fund that the government shut down. He's now the owner of the New York Mets. And I actually met with his firm up in Connecticut years ago for an interview. It was scary, and I can go there if you want me to. But he got shut down, and it's all publicly disclosed for compliance reasons. Yes, they were short-term focused in trading, but they did illegal stuff. In terms of George Soros, he's more of a high-level FX macro guy. And my mentor, Carson Levitt, who started the equities division at Citadel, where he hired me years ago, used to work for George Soros. And I actually will have Carson Levitt come on this call in the next couple of months. And he told me that Soros really understands FX, but not as much about stocks. So when he makes big bets or trades, it's not a day trade. It's a 6 to 12 month trade. So George Soros, for example, broke the Bank of England by forcing the British government, the Bank of England, to float the pound. Okay, before it was a fixed rate, and he made $1 billion in one day on that trade. But that wasn't just a one-day trade. It's something he was working on for 6 to 12 months. He did the same thing with the chatbot. Yeah. Okay. All right. JMO wrote, I like that area because with the Roth IRA, tax is my domain. Retirement crisis in America is real. And the only way the government could combat this is increasing taxes in the future. I think there has to be tax reform. Look, I'm definitely a capitalist, as y'all know. But I don't think it's fair that billionaires pay less in taxes percent-wise than everybody else. In fact, the 400 wealthiest families in America only paid about 22% taxes last year. And the highest tax bracket is closer to 50%. It's not fair. In fact, in 2007, Jeff Bezos, who was already a billionaire then, in 2007, Jeff Bezos, not only did he not pay anything in taxes, he also got $16,000 back from the government when he filed taxes. That's $4,000 for each of his 4 kids. So, and the reason why it's difficult to tax billionaires because they hire these very high price tax lawyers to move their money around to make sure they pay less in taxes. And I think there should be a tax based on your net worth. And these billionaires, they only pay taxes if there's a taxable event, like they sell shares in a company. If they don't sell shares in the company in a given year, they don't pay taxes. And even Warren Buffett has publicly stated that he thinks it's really unfair that his tax rate is way lower. I think it's like well under a couple of percent than his assistant that works for him. Yeah. But the other side of that coin, to be intellectually honest and objective, is that, billionaires create jobs and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's a tough call, but I think taxes should go up on billionaires. Okay. All right. A boy in Finland wrote, Chris, I'm a big fan. Thank you. You wrote, I'm starting a new position as a consultant in a venture capital fund. Congratulations. Do you think a CFA qualification helps? Finally, do you intend on giving Excel-based courses on VC analysis? Yeah, I just released one, actually. Yeah, it's how to do deep due diligence for public and private companies using AI. And if you're in my MBA degree program, if you go to the very last lecture of that program, you can get it for free. In terms of CFA, so CFA, for those who are not familiar, that stands for Certified Financial Analyst Designation. It's a 3-year program. You don't go to school. You just study at nights, and you write an exam every year for 3 years. It's more respected than an MBA, in my humble opinion. I would get it if you think that... actually, first of all, I would do this. Do a search on LinkedIn on people's backgrounds that you aspire to be longer term, and see if they have a CFA. That might help you understand filling that gap, so to speak. If you are going to do the CFA, please don't buy the textbooks they tell you about, right? So when I did it, Goldman paid for all the textbooks and stuff, but the textbooks are like a grant. Instead, I want you to do a search on eBay for Schweizer and buy guidebooks for less than $50 that summarize all that stuff. And Schweizer is owned by Kaplan, which is owned by Washington Post, which is owned by Jeff Bezos. Yeah. Oh, the Berlin, how are you? Wrote, hey, Chris, hello, my friend. Great to see you. And it was awesome talking with you and your daughter the other day with respect to the internship. Yeah. And I hope you're feeling 100% better, brother. Next up, Jonas wrote, I was listening to the NVIDIA CEO talk up the Copilot AI and building the world's fastest AI supercomputer together with Microsoft. Is a trend now that everybody is competing with OpenAI? Yes. And competition is a good thing for the consumer. It's more co-opetition when it comes to Microsoft's relationship with OpenAI, which is the parent company of ChatGPT. Because Microsoft competes with them, but they also cooperate with them because Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI. So they have a lot of influence, obviously, in terms of what OpenAI decides to do next. And OpenAI wouldn't exist probably without the support of Elon Musk, but mainly Microsoft. So Microsoft invested billions of dollars back in 2016 in OpenAI. In terms of their joint venture with NVIDIA, it probably has something to do with quantum computing, which I talked about a couple of minutes ago. Again, do a search on YouTube for 60 minutes quantum computing, and you'll see just how revolutionary this technology is going to be. The bottom line is that quantum computing will be 1 million times, that's right, faster than the fastest supercomputer, probably within a decade. IBM is behind this as well, which again is why IBM share price is going up. My wife works for IBM. Yeah, that's disclosure. All right. Next up, Plano Be Life wrote, hey, Chris, I'm an instructor from Udemy and also one of your students. Great fan. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless you. And let me know what courses you teach as well. Yeah, thanks. Manos wrote, how do you remove a bad board member? By buying their stake or in another way? I'm new, so your help would be appreciated. It's really, really hard to do. It's almost impossible. Now, you'd have to talk to your lawyer to take a look at the legal documents that were signed by the board members to see if you can kick out a board member. You'd have to get all the other board members to be able to vote on that as well. Yeah, very, very difficult to do. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then you wrote, Bitcoin crossed 44,000, way above my level. Do you think we are feeling the bull run now for the next year? Yeah, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I've disclosed since day one that the 4 cryptos I own, one of them being Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is like digital gold. And if you're the Chinese government and you're signaling to the marketplace that you're going to buy less US dollars, meaning US government securities, longer term, where would you put your money then? Well, gold, and potentially digital gold as well. And that's why I'm also a big fan of gold. And the way to invest in gold, the safest way, is to buy ticker GLD, which is an ETF, exchange traded fund for gold. And it's 50 basis points in fees per year, but it's real. Don't ever buy gold from anybody because you don't know if it's real. But GLD is real. Yeah. All right. And then the Berlin wrote, Chris, what is a liquidity crisis? What type of environment is it? And how can someone play defense? Yeah. So liquidity means, can you buy or sell something quickly? And on Wall Street, when I used to work at Goldman, the traders would always say, oh my gosh, this stock trades a lot. It trades like water. And so that means that the volume is high. And so never invest in a stock that doesn't trade a lot. And the reason I say that is because illiquid stocks own you, meaning us, in a down market rather than vice versa. So what rule should you use? Well, I love to use the 1/10 rule. And let me explain what that means before you invest in any stock. So let me go to Yahoo Finance here. And give me a second. Let me type up the ticker for anything. Didn't work. They just changed their website here. Okay, there's a delay. All right, I'll go to whatever this one is here. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to look at the daily volume. Okay, so the daily volume on this financial instrument here is 124,000 shares times $12. Alexa, what is 124,000 times $12?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Alexa,
could you repeat?
Alexa, what is 12.21 times 124,000? All right, Alexa, we're not getting along these days. Okay, let's just say, okay.
Today is Thursday, December 7th, 2023 in Oklahoma.
Let's all short Amazon. How did you get that? Okay, I'll do the math myself. Okay, 124,000 times 10 is $1.5 million. So this stock here, this bond fund trades $1.5 million every day. So if you divide $1.5 million by 10, that's 150,000. So don't put more than 150,000 into this financial instrument. Yeah. And the reason a lot of hedge funds went bankrupt back, I'm just laughing at Alexa here. Unplug you. The reason a lot of hedge funds went bankrupt in the fall of 2008 is because they owned illiquid stocks. And they were trying to sell them. And as they sold them, they were pushing the share price down. So illiquid stocks own you in a down market. All right, next up, Manas wrote, if you had $1 billion, which I believe you do have, no. What tokens would you buy and how much promotion and why do you prefer Litecoin? Litecoin is like, it's like, if Bitcoin is digital gold, Litecoin is digital silver, right? And I think eventually it'll be used for smaller transactions. If I had $1 billion, I would build more schools. And so as many of you know, the profits from what I do go towards building schools and providing scholarships for students all over the world. We finished our school in Rwanda, and now we just secured the land actually for our next school, which is going to be in Kenya. And let me show you the land actually. Yeah, and I'm making this with another one of my amazing students, Manas Koros. So let me see if I can show it to you. I took an image screenshot of it. Yeah, here it is here. Okay, let's go right here. Yeah. So this is Vital, who was the champion behind the school in Rwanda. And this is Marin, also one of my students. Right here is, and this here is the exact location of where we're going to build our school in Kenya. We secured the land as well. It's going to be a school for girls, and it's going to be called the Leah Koros School for Girls in honor of Manas's, of Marin's mother. Yeah. Okay. Bonus points What band is this and what album is this right here that I'm showing you? I'm clearly dating myself. I remember the day this album came out, though. It's still my favorite album of all time. Okay. All right. Okay. The Berlin wrote, Chris, the Fed is in debt to the Treasury. They're on the red and won't be back in the black till 2027. Their liabilities rises and assets drop. Yeah. I wouldn't worry about the amount of debt the United States has. I know it seems like a fiscally irresponsible comment to make, but everything is relative. And the very last company, so to speak, to go bankrupt on this planet would be the U.S. government. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, in India, there are no EV companies like the ones who can give competition to Tesla at a global level. If I want to start an EV car company, which I consider to need in terms of capital, etc. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Tata Motor is looking at this closely. And what Elon Musk has done, God bless him, is he's open sourced all the battery technology so anybody can use it. Yeah. In terms of your go-to-market strategy, etc., I'd write a thorough business plan first, because failing a plan is planned to fail, which is in my MBA degree program in the venture capital boot camp in the third semester portion of the curriculum. Yeah. And always use OPM, which stands for other people's money, not opium the drug. Yeah. And never, ever get a loan, because banks are chicken. And if you miss one payment, they can take your company. Get money from high net worth investors initially, because the sales cycle is quite short. And you can read the networking book for details on how to do that. I've raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. So my networking stuff works. And I've made plenty of mistakes too. Yeah. When one teaches, two learn. Okay, Jonas wrote, why did Elon Musk leave OpenAI? As it seems that he was one of the founders. Yeah. There was a disagreement in terms of direction of the company longer term. And I think Elon is really, really worried about AI products getting too much power and having a Terminator-like event. So he's really worried about that. He wants to keep AI in check. And so there's a difference in religion as well. And he used to be really good friends with Larry Page. You can Google why they're not friends anymore. But one of the biggest disagreements he had with Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, is that Elon believes that AI has the possibility to destroy the world, whereas Google, Larry Page, thinks there's no way it's going to happen. Yeah. And I tend to side more so with Elon Musk on this. Yeah. Okay. And the Berlin wrote, Chris, my daughter, who's interning with me, cannot start a club before year ends. She talked to staff, but I'll let her tell you about it. Yeah. And have her set up another call with me. You have my calendar, and I'm happy to humbly help with that. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, have you tried Runway AI? It's really cool. By the way, IBM and Meta, have joined hands for the AI revolution. Yeah, it's part of the quantum computing investment IBM has as well. Again, watch 60 Minutes. Just watch it on YouTube, the quantum computing story they did last week. Yeah. And there's got to be a way to invest in that. I'd look at the entire supply chain of chip companies to see which chip companies, small cap ones, would feed into quantum computing. Yeah. If I had time, I'd roll up my sleeves and do research on that right now, because that's the next big trend. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. Next up, Andre wrote, the Thursday meetings normally start the same time I need to pick up my son from daycare. I tried entering by phone, but for every time I try to enter by phone, it seems like you don't appear to you. Yeah. No. So what happens? I start at 11:20. You know what you can do if you want is join the silver one this week. It's the same Zoom address. Okay, so that's at 10 a.m. my time, and join every Thursday at 10 a.m. my time. Yeah, that's 1 p.m. your time. Yeah. Manas wrote, "Thank you for everything, my mentor. God bless you all forever and ever. Bless Project Magoo as well. See you next week and forever. And thank you for all those emojis. God bless you. Namaste. Thank you." Next up, Kevin wrote, "Hi, Chris. In New York and California, are employers allowed to inquire on employees' reasons for departure from prior positions? legally, I would talk to a lawyer about that, but there's no reason why you can't ask about that. Like when I interview people, and I've conducted over 1,000 interviews in my career, that's basically one per week for 20 years, especially when I was at Goldman, I interviewed lots of people. I would always ask, why did you leave this company? That sort of thing. Especially if somebody has worked at 5 or 6 companies within a couple of years. They could be a flight risk, so it's a legit question to ask. And then you wrote, what do you recommend the candidates to say in an interview if he was terminated? Yeah. So if anybody is terminated or thinks that you might be let go at your company, in your exit interview, you want to be cordial and really polite, because you might not be able to get the next job until somebody calls the previous company to ask for a reference check. Now, if the reason that somebody is terminated is because of an entire division was cut due to job cuts, you can mention that. Yeah, there's no shame in that. Okay. And then Plano B Life, who teaches on Udemy, and I asked her what she teaches. I said, my name is Raquel. Hey, Raquel, how are you? And I teach marketing courses, and I'm from Brazil. Awesome. Excellent. You know what I would do? There's massive demand on Udemy right now for ChatGPT-based courses. So I'm sure you've looked into this already. I would do a search on how to incorporate marketing into a ChatGPT course. And I actually just did that in a course I just released on Udemy. What I do is I use several marketing frameworks and ChatGPT, as well as Google Bard and Microsoft Bing Chat, to help with positioning. So I teach how to use the Boston Consulting Group matrix, BCG matrix, using AI. I also teach how to use the product lifecycle framework as well with AI when doing due diligence on companies. Yeah. Check out my course and you can do something similar. Yeah. Jonas wrote, thank you for that answer. I actually didn't understand Microsoft's help in setting up OpenAI. Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah. Satya Nadella is a brilliant man. And Eek, thank you for that comment. I love it. Okay. And TRS, thank you for helping me with mathematics. Okay. Jonas wrote, may I ask what micro and macroeconomics are? I'm glad there are no stupid questions here. Absolutely. And again, when one teaches, two learn. Yeah. So macro means you're looking down at the forest. Micro means you're analyzing one tree. So macroeconomics is basically, interest rates, that sort of thing, GDP, etc. Microeconomics is like supply and demand curves, etc. Trying to understand from a company perspective how they're doing. Yeah. And you'll never see me in my MBA program or any of my courses explaining supply and demand curves, because nobody uses that in the real world. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Okay, and then Jonas wrote, just like a commenter here, I'm a computer science graduate looking to close the gap on my finance knowledge. I'll be taking either the bronze or silver program soon enough. Thank you. And to learn more about my MBA program, you can just go to this link right here. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and then the Berlin wrote, Chris, apologies, the Fed is having a liquidity crisis. I would not worry about that at all. Yeah, and sometimes you'll see, Congress people, basically saying we're going on strike, we're not going to have enough money for the budget, etc. It's all just political posturing. They always solve it in the long run. Yeah. In fact, first world countries whose debt is downgraded, in almost all situations, 1 year later, the market is higher. Okay, and there's plenty of precedents for that with the United States, with with Japan, as well as with Canada. Remember, everything is relative. And then Eekmeek wrote, what do you think about the recent Bitcoin rally? Is it a bull trap? I'm bullish longer term. So I don't really look at volatility in terms of stocks. I don't focus on the path. I focus on the destination. Yeah. Okay. But if Bitcoin or any security is massively overbought, right? I can't believe I'm going there with technical analysis. If it's massively overbought, like if the RSI is 80, I'd probably wait to buy more until it pulls back. Let me show you what that means. You got to look at fundamentals first, valuation second, and a distant third is technical analysis, but I do have to go there. All right, so give me 1 second. And this new Yahoo website is slow, man. Okay, let's go here to Bitcoin. Maybe it's the browser I'm using. All right, let's go to the chat. That's how you say if you're from Boston, the chat. All right. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to get my face off in the corner so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, so right here, you've got the relative strength index, okay? And right here, we see that at this exact point here, it touched 80 down here, right? And so technical investors would look to sell right here. So, and by the same token, when the RSI touches around 20, like it did here, technical investors think, hey, you found a floor. So I would probably, I hate to say this, I would probably take a little bit of profits here if you're up a lot and you don't have to pay taxes on it, for example, and wait for it to consolidate lower so it's not as overbought as it is right now. Can't believe I just did that. Yeah. TRS wrote, you two, you are correct. Yes, thank you. You're not sure of the album. Dan Sanchez, hey Dan, how are you, man? Great to see you, buddy. Wrote the Joshua Tree. That's right. That's right. Great album. I love that album. Yeah. Yeah. One Tree Hill is my favorite song. Next up, JMO wrote, I agree with you on the debt, Chris, about going bankrupt because the largest asset on the U.S. government's balance sheet is students' loans. Yeah. 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 And I really think that education should be free. I know it would cost a fortune, but I think in the long run, it would really help the U.S. economy and all economies. And I mentioned this in my TEDx talk years ago, which you can watch on YouTube. You know, technology, education, and acceptance, TEAT, can and will fix the world. And if you want a precedent for this, you know, go back to post-World War II when all the soldiers came home. There was something called the GI Bill. And the GI Bill basically meant that all these soldiers that came home that were defending freedom, God bless them, they got to go to university for free. And that's one of the reasons why the U.S. economy massively took off post-World War II. There's many other reasons as well. Okay. All right, next up, Jonas wrote, what advice do you have for an entrepreneur in a developing country and being long-term focused? Word of mouth can be very significant and adoption of new tech can be a bit slower than you'd like. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've seen the death of distance over the past decade in terms of where a company needs to be in order for it to prosper. You know, anybody with internet access in any country can compete online and create an incredible company. You know, for me, I don't have employees in the U.S. Well, one person I work with closely named John Klee, who's a great guy. He does the weekly transcripting of the YouTube call. But all of my other employees or contractors are all over the world. Yeah. You don't have to be in the Bay Area to start a tech company. So actually, I'd recommend not doing that because the cost of labor is too high here. Yeah. But what I recommend, regardless of what country people are in, is to write a thorough business plan first. And I teach about this in my MBA degree program. You can learn more about it at this link right here because failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah, write a business plan first. And the way that you know you have a great business model or business idea is if you finish the business plan. And if you're working on the business plan and you answer the first 100 of 700 questions of my MBA program and you realize, I don't like this business anymore, stop working on it. It's a safety net for you. Yeah, the same thing with investing in stock. I provide you with all the templates and tools in your toolbox or arrows in your quiver, so to speak, so that before you invest in a stock, I make you write an investment research report first. And if you start writing that report and after, say, 10 minutes of writing, you're like, oh my God, I don't like this company anymore, then stop and move on. Only invest in companies after you finish your research report. That's a safety net. Okay. All right. And then Raquel wrote, thanks for the idea about the marketing course. Yeah, absolutely good. And go to my profile and check out the course I just released. And check it out if you want to, and reuse the stuff that I created as well when it comes to the BCG matrix, etc. Yeah. And all students win if you do that. It's part of educational Darwinism. Yeah. Okay. 2020 wrote, thank you, Chris, for your Udemy course on options. I've been running options since August 1st. You're most welcome. I had a blast making that. Please, 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 I'm going to get down on my knees. Please don't ever underwrite options, meaning sell them. Because if you underwrite them, you can lose 10 times more than what you invested if you get randomly assigned, which I talk about in the course. Yeah. All right. And then Economic wrote, thanks for that technical analysis. You're most welcome. You wrote, I was also thinking the same thing in terms of Bitcoin being overbought. Yeah. That's why I'm holding it long-term for sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's no shame in taking profits when something is overbought if that position is now too big as a percent of your portfolio. And again, I don't recommend having more than 5% of your liquid net worth in any one stock or investment. So if an investment runs up and it's now 30% of your portfolio, I consider taking profits. Yeah. And hopefully it's in a tax shelter so you don't pay taxes. Yeah. And if you're not sure what to do about tax shelters, what I want you to do is get an accountant. I don't want anybody in this call to do your own taxes. I want you to hire an accountant to do it. And there's no repository online to tell you where good accountants are located, right? It's a fragmented market. It's been balkanized. What you have to do is talk to your successful friends or coworkers and ask them who their accountant is and ask for an introduction. And they're more than happy to do it because they're giving the accountant more business, which means the accountant will do a better job for them. And doing your own taxes, your own accounting, is as illogical as it is to do surgery on yourself or represent yourself in court without hiring a lawyer. The CPA profession exists for a reason. The tax code changes every year, and with new government officials being elected, it's impossible to keep up to date on that. That's why you have to have a great accountant. And then once you generate a lot of wealth, you have to get a tax attorney. It's crazy. You pay $500 to $1,000 per hour, but they save you a fortune in the long run. Yeah. And that's how the uber wealthy stay wealthy and get wealthier, is they pay less in taxes legally. Yeah. All right. Next up, Jonas wrote, thank you for that explanation of micro, meaning the trees, versus macro, the forest. And then you wrote, I will remember your head almost disappearing from the screen for micro. That's thanks, my mentor. Yes. Yeah. Help. And then Jonas wrote, your YouTube channel is my daily boost. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And we post actually, I think almost daily now on TikTok as well. And you can check that out. Jean-Marco Lubiana, who's my one of my video editors, he's great, does a great job up in Canada there. Next up, Werner wrote, hi, Chris. Hey, what platforms would you propose for someone to start trading and learn the ropes a bit? Yeah. So from an investing perspective, I'd probably take a look at Thinkorswim, which is owned by TD Ameritrade. And the great thing about Thinkorswim is you can download this unbelievable application that's just as good as Bloomberg, and it's free to use. And Thinkorswim will allow you to run a real portfolio or a paper portfolio as well. So you can practice investing. Yeah. And if you're in a country that you can't get access to Thinkorswim, you can always think about using a VPN. And the VPN I use is called ExpressVPN. It's fantastic. Marquise Brownlee, who's my favorite vlogger, recommended it. Yeah. He's so cool. Okay. And then Carl wrote, the Bitcoin reward amount will be cut in half next year. How will that affect mining? What are the most profitable crypto to mine today? Yeah. So basically, the way it works for cryptocurrencies is, each algorithm becomes stronger and stronger and stronger through mining. It's kind of like when you break a bone, you have a cast on it, it grows back stronger. And the amount of money you can make from mining Bitcoin is going to go down in the long run. In fact, by the year 2140, there will be the maximum number of Bitcoin out there, meaning 21 million. And people will think, well, I don't understand. If there's only 21 million, why invest? Well, there's actually going to be a hell of a lot more than 21 million because of what's called a Satoshi, which is in honor of the founder or founders that created Bitcoin, which means you can slice and dice Bitcoin to 1/1000th of a Bitcoin, for example. The reason I like Bitcoin is because there's a scarcity. to the extent that there will be a maximum amount of cryptos created at one point in time. Again, 21 million Bitcoin is the maximum float by the year 2140. And it's like any asset class. You never want to invest if there's a massive increase in supply. That's why the US dollar is a bad investment. Cash is trash because the government keeps printing more and more and more of it. But stuff like Bitcoin or gold, there's a dearth or a limit on supply. And my grandfather, I miss you, God bless you, used to always say, Chrissy, buy land, they're not making it anymore. So always look at the underlying supply in any asset class before looking to invest. Yeah. Okay. In terms of near-term volatility, I have no idea. Sorry. Yeah. And other cryptos to mine today, I'm not sure. I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Vicky wrote, thanks for great information. My pleasure, and thanks for being here. First time I see you on the call. I hope you join us again. And then he wrote here, if you like an unlisted company and would like to invest in it, how would you approach that? Yeah. So if it's privately held, you have to contact the company directly. So go to the website of the company you want to invest in, get the contact details, and call the company. You know, if you get the front desk, ask to speak to the CEO. You got nothing to lose, right? Ask to speak to the CEO and or the CFO. Yeah. And if venture capital firms represent them, they can introduce you to the VC firms if you want. Be really careful, though. I don't recommend it because private companies are highly illiquid. And, you know, even the top venture capital firms, they don't get paid on their investments, you know, every year. It can take a decade for them to harvest an asset and get paid. Yeah. And most private companies go to zero. Yeah, they're bad investments. I would stick to liquid stuff like stocks that trade like water. Yeah, like I showed you earlier today when it comes to liquidity. Okay. But before you invest in any private company or public company, you got to write a full investment research report, which I teach in my MBA degree program in a lot of detail. You can learn more about it right here. And recently I released an elective, which is free for my MBA students, on how to use ChatGPT and AI to do investment research on any company. And I mean every aspect of investment research. Yeah. Okay. And Manas wrote, 80 is the limit. It's at 79. Yeah. Well, technically it can go above 80 as well. The RSI, Relative Strength Index, or some people call it Retail Sales Index. Robert wrote, does Lean Six Sigma still hold its weight or has another business philosophy taken its place? If yes, what is it? Yeah. I studied that years ago, Six Sigma. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. Yeah. And then Manas wrote, an Ethereum ETF is coming as well. Yeah, and I own Ethereum. I've owned it for years. I'll never sell it. What I love about Ethereum, ticker ETH, is that it's like a platform. And the best investments, you own the road and you charge the cars. So Apple is a platform with iOS. Facebook is the quintessential social media platform. I don't trust them. eBay is a platform as well that charges the cars. The same thing with Ethereum. Because with Ethereum, it's a platform that people use to do digital transactions or ICOs. Like most ICOs, which is like an IPO for cryptocurrency, are done on the Ethereum platform. And so are NFTs as well. I can't believe I mentioned NFT. No one's talked about that in years. Yeah. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. So as promised, I have that interview. Right now, actually, I got breaking news. Okay. We got to go to this interview.
Hello, my name is Bob Burgundy from Haroun News Network, that's HNN, and I've got breaking news for you. It looks like technology behemoth Apple is trying to buy Nintendo. Breaking news. I don't know if the deal will go through. I have to ask a number of our strategic advisors here to help us out to find out if this deal in fact will go through. And so the first strategic advisor that I want to ask is an expert in economics management and strategy. He works at a consulting firm called McKinsey, and his name is Chip Patterson. Chip, What are your thoughts? Yes, thank you, Bob, for that introduction. This is an extraordinary deal, and I think it might make sense, but I'm not really sure yet. And so, here at McKinsey & Company, we pride ourselves on advising the most incredible companies and government agencies in the world. And so, by the end of this MBA degree program, my fellow classmates here will help me to analyze if this extraordinary deal makes a lot of sense or not. Thank you, and cheerio. Thank you, Chip. The next expert we're going to ask is a finance and accounting expert who works at an investment bank called MHS, Morgan Haroun Sachs. His name is Gordon Lizard. Gordon, what are your thoughts on this deal?
Thanks, Bob. I really appreciate it, So here at Morgan Haroun Sachs, MHS actually, we're going to do a really deep dive to understand the financial statements of, Nintendo and Apple. And I pride myself on being an amazing investment banker. And we're actually going to have a lot of my fellow students here during the Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program help me to build out the financials. And don't worry, I know a lot of us don't understand how finance and accounting works, but we will by the end of this MBA degree program. In fact, here's what we're going to do, We're going to figure it all out together. We're going to create the financial model, meaning the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, etc., for Nintendo as well as for Apple. And it's a bit complicated because Nintendo's an international company, and so their financial statements are a little bit different from Apple, but we're going to figure it out, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to value the company using discounted cash flow, as well as price earnings multiple, price to revenue, and other metrics as well. And so that by the end of this MBA degree program, we will know how much Apple should potentially pay for Nintendo. Thanks, Bob. Back to you.
Thank you, Gordon. Our next expert is somebody that knows a lot about sales, marketing, and communication, and his name is Stephen Ive. Stephen, you work at Apple. What are your thoughts on this deal?
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. Thanks. It's going to be important for me to convince our board and shareholders to approve of the deal. And I'm not much of a presenter, but I know that a lot of my fellow students here in the Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program are going to be able to help me to learn how to present much better in the SMC classes, that sales, marketing, and communication classes, so that they'll give me advice, and together we'll be able to learn how to present to the board of Apple and the shareholders to convince them to the deal makes sense or if it doesn't. Thank you, Bob. Back to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Our next expert is an entrepreneurship expert named Tony Shark. Now, Tony was about to sign an exclusive contract with Apple for his virtual reality goggles and his company, Shark Virtual Reality. Tony, is this deal still going through for you, or because Nintendo has a great VR product, does Apple no longer need you, Tony? And what are you going to do about this?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. So I was supposed to sign this exclusive contract with Apple for my, Shark virtual reality goggles. I think our product is a lot better than Nintendo's. And in the entrepreneurship track of this MBA degree program, my fellow students and I are going to work on a way to sell this product to Apple. And so this product's amazing. There's a hardware component to it, which has low margins. And then there's a software component to it with media, which is where you stream it, and it's really high margins. We got a great product here, much better than anybody else in the market. And so, last thing I'll say, Bob, and thanks again for having me on your show, is that by the end of this MBA degree program, my fellow classmates and I will be armed with this, and we'll have what it takes to be able to succeed in business and take our careers to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Our next guest is somebody off the street here, a random person I just met whose goal is to work at Apple. I want to ask you, from a personal growth perspective, how do you think you can get a job at Apple. So this guy's name here is Joe Jobs. How are you going to get that job?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, Bob. I really appreciate it. So my dream has always been to work at Apple, and I think I got what it takes. And I know that my fellow classmates and I in this Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program, in the personal growth classes, we're going to learn just a ton so that we can all get the job of our dreams. We'll learn how to interview and all that stuff. But I'm looking forward to getting a lot of help from my fellow classmates so that we can get that dream job. I think I got what it takes. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Joe. Well, there you have it. We talked to 5 experts who are going to help us understand how this deal is structured, if this deal will go through and whatnot. And by the end of this Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program, you will all be armed with enough skills to understand from 5 different perspectives whether or not this deal makes sense. And those 5 perspectives are as follows: economics management and strategy, sales, marketing and communication, entrepreneurship, personal growth, and finance and accounting. I'm Bob Burgundy signing out here from Haroun News Network's HNN.
All right, thank you for letting me take a break there. All right, please type your questions if you have any. Next up, Sadiq wrote, I'm working at Deloitte right now, great company, in the valuations team as an assistant manager. Any tips on switching to M&A, mergers and acquisition deals? Yeah, it all comes down to networking internally. And regardless of what company people work for, I always want you to find at least a couple of Yodas, meaning mentors, in your company to help guide you. And a mentor is somebody that usually has something in common with you. And the reason I say that is it's easier to get meetings with people if you have something in common with them. Maybe you're a member of the same organization outside of work, or you went to the same school, etc. Deloitte's a massive company. So what I would do is I would do an advanced search on LinkedIn, and I would enter in Deloitte. Then what I would do is I'd enter in your undergraduate school name or high school or whatever it is, and see who from Deloitte went to the same school as you. Then I would look to see if they're in the M&A department, for example. And I would set up informational meetings with them, coffee meetings. Yeah. And they'll take the meetings. And when you network, I always mention send in-mails because nobody reads emails. But when you're networking within your company, they're going to read the email from you because it's coming from internally. So that's what I humbly recommend doing, setting up a lot of informational meetings. Now, when you set up these informational meetings, what I want you to do is in the first 10 minutes, I want you to talk about what you have in common with them, meaning the school you went to or whatever else you have in common with them. Maybe you're in the same organization together outside of work. And then after 10 or 15 minutes, they're very nicely going to say this, and they won't say it as directly as I'm going to now. But they'll say, why are we meeting? And at that point, you can mention, you're really passionate about M&A and you'd love to learn more about that. And after you do a couple meetings with them, and if your gut tells you to trust them, then I want you to mention that you're interested in working in their department or in the M&A department. So in order to change careers or departments in a company, a big bureaucracy, you need to have a pull. So you got to get that person to want to hire you, and then ask that person, once you trust them, how to break this news to your boss, so to speak. Yeah. And if you're going to tell your boss that you want to move to another department, what you have to do is you have to find exit strategy for them as well, meaning who will take over your day-to-day operations on the current of your current position. Yeah. And I remember when I worked at Goldman years ago, I did exactly that. And I wanted to work, I was working on the trading floor at Goldman Sachs. I wanted to work in merger arbitrage. It was just kind of like the hedge fund department at Goldman Sachs. And so I networked internally with a guy named Amos Maron, M-E-R-O-N, Amos Maron, great guy. And he wanted to hire me. But I couldn't go because my current boss wouldn't let me go. Yeah. So eventually I left Goldman Sachs to join a hedge fund. Yeah. But you got to have that pull as well. Yeah. All right. And Sadiq, hope you're doing well as well. All right, Eek Meek. I love that. wrote, appreciate all the work you put into these videos. I'm currently enrolled in your Microsoft Excel course on Udemy, and I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I had so much fun making that. And you're going to absolutely love my upcoming Python course as well. It's going to run circles around that one. Yeah. And then TRS wrote, hilarious. Thank you. Please laugh at me, not with me. Yeah. My favorite character there, aside from Gordon Lizard, is Chip. Especially when it goes, this is an extraordinary deal. And that was big influence on me was Mike Myers on that. Yeah, fellow Canadian. And then you wrote, Jonas wrote, Messi or Ronaldo, who's your favorite? Yeah, I don't really have a favorite. I don't really know too much about soccer or European football, to be honest. Yeah, but so many times people try to make soccer popular in America. By hiring Beckham or, play for the Galaxy, or even Pele, who play for New York. And I saw Pele play when I was a kid. It just doesn't work in America. Soccer doesn't work here. Maybe it's because in America, people like higher scoring games, like football or baseball or hockey, for example. Yeah. All right, great. Well, I want to thank you all for your time. I'm going to end this call with a video that's going to be life-changing for you. That's a Steve Jobs interview that I licensed from the Silicon Valley Historical Association. Please click the like and subscribe button. My marketing folks always tell me to mention that at the beginning of the call. I'll mention it at the end. And if you're interested in learning more about my MBA degree program, please go to this link right here. If you're in my silver MBA degree program, I will see you in about 15 minutes on our weekly 1-hour Zoom call. In order to get access to that Zoom link, go to the first lecture in the Silver MBA degree program. Thank you all. God bless you. And I'll see you all next week and every week forever. Thank you.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.